Welcome to this podcast created by Newcastle University Business School, or NUBS for short. The Oxford Dictionary states that the nub of something is the central or essential point of a situation or problem. So we hope that in this series we can help you to get to the nubs of it. This podcast series looks at a key theme of value, the value of our creative economy, the value of our student experience, the value of our research, the value of our collaborative networks. In this series, you will meet academics, alumni, students, graduates, and professional staff of Newcastle University Business School as they talk about what value means to them. In this episode, join your host Ashleigh King as she speaks with Tony Okonkwo, Laura Martinez, and Thomas Peggs about the value of mentoring and mentoring relationships. Tony is a current Masters in Business Administration MBA student at Newcastle University Business School and currently taking part in a mentoring program. Laura is a devoted alumni volunteer and dedicates many of her hours to supporting current students at Newcastle University Business School. Thomas Peggs is Laura's mentee, and he is studying a Masters in Banking and Finance. Hi Laura, I'm so excited to talk to you today about mentoring. It's one of my favorite topics. I love mentoring. I've been a mentor. I have also been a mentee, and I know you have been the same. So I'm really delighted that you are here today with us in Newcastle upon Tyne. You've come all the way from London to join us on this podcast and video. And I'm just curious to know more about you, as I'm sure our listeners are. So could you share a little bit about yourself and background?
Of course. And first of all, thank you for having me. It's really an honor. So for everyone listening, my name is Laura. I live in London currently, and I've done my MBA degree in Newcastle University Business School, graduating in 2017. So it's been a few years. And currently living in London, working for an asset manager. I support a team of investors, fundamental equity researchers, who in essence are stock pickers and manage client money. And that's what I do at the firm as a business manager.
It's amazing. It's an amazing work that you do. And I've been fortunate myself as a recent MBA graduate. While I was a student, we had the opportunity to go to London and be hosted by your firm and actually experience, what the offices are like, which are beautiful, and also hear more about what it's really like to be in that market. And it's really it was a really valuable experience for all of us. One of the things I wanted to say is, did you ever imagine yourself working in the financial services sector? Was that always the plan, or did you fall into it, or how did that happen?
I've always said that I sort of grew into it. I followed in my mother's footsteps, really. She worked in finance, in banking, and specifically in investments in Finland. And I always just really admired her and the way that she managed to sort of coordinate between that high drive career and managing family life. So it sort of just came naturally to me. And then when it at some point came time to choosing my field of study, I decided that business management, accounting, that would come naturally from me, which is then what led me to my current career in the finance and asset management sector. So yeah, really just following my mother's footsteps here.
I like that. So in a sense, your mother was perhaps one of your first early mentors.
That's absolutely true, yes. Haven't thought of it, actually.
So on the topic of mentoring, how do you feel about the word mentoring, or the concept of mentoring? What does it mean to you?
If I'm being completely honest, I actually really didn't even think about mentoring a few years back the way that I think about it today. For me, it was always something that was really hyped up, something that everyone just needs to have a mentor, go and get one, easy as that. And I never really thought that would be something that I'd be able to leverage myself. Not until I did my MBA in Newcastle and I sort of pivoted my career. I left my permanent role in Finland and decided to pursue something else, which is then how I found myself in London. And so it was only until recently, really, because when I started working in London, I found that the culture and the career life here is much different to what I had experienced previously. And having a mentoring relationship really not only like opened doors, but opened my perception about what could be and where my career is going. And therefore, it hasn't been that long that I actually learned to appreciate what it means to have a mentor, to be a mentor, and how that can have an impact in your career.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting to hear what you said there about perhaps not valuing mentoring or knowing enough about it or seeing it as overhyped, because we do hear certain phrases used in business communities, used in networking events, and it can be very easy to feel that way, for sure. So it's interesting to hear that perspective. You actually have a mentee. So how are you finding being a mentor yourself?
I've always found that sort of characteristic in myself, that I like to pass on knowledge. And even in my past roles and even in my current role as a business manager, that is sort of what I do. It's just on a different industry, on a different level. I am the person who people turn to when they are looking for guidance or for advice, or just basically someone who knows a bit of everything about everything. So I honestly, I don't know, it's really, really hard to describe, if I'm completely honest. Me being a mentor is way different from me being a mentee, and having a mentor myself, to then passing on that knowledge that I've acquired from someone else to then again putting it forward, it happens naturally. And I feel quite a lot of comfort in knowing that someone who actually finds my advice useful is able to use that and add it, like make it valuable, turn it into value. And I feel like that's what I need to know to actually be in that role and how I can contribute forward.
Absolutely. And mentoring can happen informally and formally. So, for instance, you can have a formal mentoring relationship, but you can also mentor people at work and help them to move forward with a problem, almost as in coaching, but, helping them move forward with certain steps and being a guide. One of the things I'd like to ask you is about boundaries, actually. So one of the challenges with some mentoring relationships is that it can be there are two people who are getting something out of the experience. A mentor has maybe different motives than a mentee. And my question there is about how do you find, when you are a mentor, one of the challenges and the themes I always read about is, mismatched expectations or boundaries. And I'm just curious about how you protect yourself as a mentor and as a mentee, your experience of that.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I always, whenever I start a new mentoring relationship, whether it's my own or me as a mentor for someone else, I always start by saying, let's have an informal catch up and let's see what you are after and if I can add value. And if you feel like I can add value and I can help you out, the person who I'm mentoring, my mentee, they need to come up with a plan that is suited for what they are after, and they need to narrow down what they are after. How can I contribute to their plan? That way they take the ownership. It's really the mentee who's driving the process. I am there to contribute, to share my ideas, my thoughts. But at the end of the day, it is the mentee who is driving the process. And when I make that clear from day one, I think that's a very, very easy way for someone doing a mentoring role to set the guidelines from the get-go.
I think that's a really helpful way to do it, because that makes it mentee-centric, where they take the leadership rather than some of the research I've read and some of the themes that I've found is that sometimes it can be more about the mentor wanting to be passing on their knowledge, which it can be a case of that, and that can be very valuable. But sometimes actually what we think our mentees need is not what they actually need. And I really like your approach. I think that's a very good way to manage expectations, protect yourself, and also add value. That's such a key part of what you've said, is about giving back to make that something more worthwhile and fruitful.
100%. And I always also say it's a two-way street. I mean, me being a mentor, I do get something out of that relationship, but my needs come second. So me being a mentor, I get valuable insights into, I don't know, up and coming talent or different processes through their experiences. I do get some value from that relationship, but at the end of the day, for me, it is the role that the mentee wants and what they want to get out of the relationship.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much. I would like to ask you if you could sum up for me in one word what the phrase or the Newcastle University Business School means to you.
Networks. Yeah. For me, it was a chance to build my network and really, really step out of my comfort zone, really. I came from a smaller country, had never been in the UK, had never really experienced any type of learning opportunities or career opportunities outside of my country of origin. So for me, being able to make those connections and broaden my horizons, build my network, I think that was the biggest, crucial piece of my time at the business school.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, Laura. It's been great to chat to you.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We're globally connected. The Business School alumni community spans 5 continents and 142 countries.
So, Thomas, it's so lovely to have you here with me in the studio. I'm really excited to speak to you because you're a current student, current postgraduate, MSc Banking and Finance. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Great. And, I just graduated myself, so I feel it's very nice to meet other postgraduate students. And I would love to know a little bit about how you ended up doing a master's and what brought you to decide to do that at this time in your life.
So, obviously, I spent the last 3 years previously before my postgraduate also in Newcastle studying an undergraduate BSc Mathematics with Finance. Obviously, COVID happened, changed a lot of plans for a lot of people, and I decided it was a great opportunity to go back to Newcastle and do my postgraduate because I thought the job searching wouldn't have been fantastic during COVID. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to go and refine my knowledge about finance and banking. So obviously during my undergraduate studies, it was a lot more mathematical instead of the finance aspect. And towards the end of it, I decided finance was something that I was interested in and something that I could see a career in. So I thought it'd be fantastic, go back to do my postgraduate studies. And there was no better place than Newcastle. I knew the city and I thought that the business school was the perfect place to go.
Wonderful. I love hearing that. It's great to hear glowing feedback about the city and the school and the university. And one of the things that I'm wondering is, so you made the decision to invest in yourself, to, further your education even further. So is this a 2-year program that you're going to be doing or a 1 year?
It's just a 1-year program. So I started in September, straight after my undergraduate, and it's currently ending in August, so I've just finished my exams and then I've got my dissertation which is due in at the end of August.
So it's possibly quite a high pressure time in terms of working on that and getting to through the final bits.
It is quite high pressured, obviously different things going on, so my dissertation's due in soon, obviously a lot of job applications for graduates are opening up. And then also through the business school, I'm doing some professional qualifications, so studying for that as well. So a lot of hard work, but hopefully it'll be rewarding in the end.
Absolutely. I want to ask, one of the things we're talking about here today is about mentoring. As a recent graduate yourself, but also now doing another course, how do you feel about, having had a mentor? What has that meant for you in terms of a competitive job market, and you're already so invested in your personal development and growth? But has that helped to provoke anything for you even further, or helped to clarify particular understanding on an industry? How has it helped you, especially in the change from an undergrad mathematics and finance degree to the more complex, or not more complex, sorry, but a bit of a shift into banking with a different focus? How has that been for you, having a mentor in that area?
I think it's been fantastic. Since I connected with Laura in March, the guidance and the advice regarding not just the industry that I'm interested in, but also away from that, career development, CV development, and all the little things, that pieces of the puzzle that you need to add up to be able to be competitive in the graduate employment market. Obviously, it's getting more competitive and everything. And I think Laura's offered so much that hopefully it'll just give that little edge moving into the market. The assisting in goal setting has been vital as well. And Laura mentioned about obviously setting up a framework, and within the framework, setting different goals has been fantastic. But not only setting just sort of long-term goals, but short-term goals to build up to the long-term goals. So Laura's been fantastic, offering advice and everything, but also the insights that she's offered through different people. So she's introduced me to traders, portfolio managers, data scientists that she knows, has offered different perspectives of an industry that I'm interested in.
Wow, so you've actually had the opportunity to, through Laura, your mentor's network, actually find out about other contacts you could work with, or different types of industries you could do outside of maybe options you hadn't even considered yet.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the great things about a mentoring relationship is not only are you connecting with someone who's an industry leader, they also have contacts that they can introduce you to, and your network can grow through it and everything. A lot of career development is about networking, and I think having a mentoring relationship is key to help you build a network of contacts.
Absolutely. I love these ideas, and I love how much you already know about yourself. Your self-awareness so early in career is really inspiring. One of the things that I would like to know is, if anyone else were asking you today about mentoring or getting a mentor or being a mentee, what top tip would you give to them about being a good mentee or getting the most out of being a mentee?
I think that you need to be driven to actually enter being a mentee and entering that relationship, because if you're not driven and want to gain something from the experience, it's just not worthwhile for you to go into it, because the mentor will be trying to give you options and advice, and you just won't be there, and you won't take as much from the relationship as possible. So being driven, but also, like I've said before, setting a framework from the outset is key, because both the mentor and the mentee will know what they want from the relationship, and I think that's where the relationship can flourish if you set this framework from the outset.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. There's just one question I want to ask. So if you could describe Newcastle University Business School in one word, what would it be?
I'd probably say opportunities. I think the opportunities that you can get from Newcastle Business School has just been fantastic. Obviously, I would never have connected with Laura, but also different opportunities such as scholarships to professional qualifications, and the list goes on and on for the opportunities, but it's all about what you make out of the opportunities that they present.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have had you in the studio today.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
As a mentor, I'm always inspired by my mentees' stories and how they are moving ahead in their career. Our relationship as a mentor and mentee hasn't lasted that long. When did we start?
I want to say it was the beginning of March this year, so March 2021.
Yeah, so it's just been a handful of months, but I'd say that the relationship so far has been quite fruitful. So would you mind just maybe telling me a bit about your experience so far and what you have maybe found most valuable?
I think, as soon as we started, we obviously laid the groundwork, which was key to be able to move forward in our relationship as a mentor-mentee. And I think the opportunities that you've offered through your insights and your expertise within a field that I'm interested in moving into in a career has been fantastic. but also the opportunities that you've offered me through different contacts within your network have been key to offer different perspectives within the industry, and also different industries have been very, very helpful.
Okay. And you mentioned us laying the groundwork. Did you expect that from the mentoring relationship? Did you expect to drive the process?
I thought it would be more even. When I first started, I thought it would be very 50-50, but I think it's actually better that the mentee is actually driving the relationship and going in the direction that they want to push it, because otherwise it could just be that they're sitting back and letting the mentor drive the relationship. And I don't think that the mentee would be able to gain as much experience, and they wouldn't gain as much from the relationship if they weren't driving it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's really important that you yourself as a mentee, you need to drive your own career. No one else will do it for you. The mentor is there to support you along the way, help you make those connections, whether it's talking to other people in the industry, like you said, or just like fine-tuning your CV. The mentor is there, literally mentoring you, not telling you what to do. So I think that is a very, very crucial part of the role. And then you also mentioned about like us connecting around March time. How did you find me again, and why did you choose me as a mentor?
So one of the great things about Newcastle University Business School is they actually have their own alumni networking platform called NCL Spark, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of it, but I was made aware of it through a careers advisor called Paul Campbell with the business school, and he was fantastic, helping me with different career and development, such as my LinkedIn profile. And he suggested going on NCL Spark, trying to connect with some past alumni and seeing if they could offer some different advice. And obviously I signed up and connected with yourself. And you were great. You got back very quickly and saying, do you want to have a quick informal meeting? Which we did. And then we laid out a framework, which was key to like set up the relationship. So we discussed what we both wanted to gain out of the relationship, and that's how we connected.
Okay. And just going back to that moment, how did you, I mean, obviously you go to the platform, you see all these faces and all these people willing to mentor. How did you choose me? Was it because I was in the right industry? Was it because of my role? How did you narrow down the selection of people you thought would be valuable to reach out to?
So as a finance student, I thought it would be fantastic to connect with someone within the financial industry, whether that be asset management or investment banking or something totally unrelated to that sort of finance, but someone who had the knowledge and the know-how of how the industry operates. So I obviously found that you worked for BlackRock, which is a financial services company, and obviously connected with you for that reason.
Yeah, no, I remember that day very clearly. Can you just maybe describe what has been the most surprising part of our mentoring relationship? And by the way, have you had any mentors prior to me? Is this your first experience?
This is my first experience of being a mentee. I actually mentored someone during my A-levels, just a younger student, during their A-levels. But the most probably surprising thing is how, I think from my perspective anyway, I thought it was quite daunting to connect with someone who is so established within this industry. I thought it might be a bit daunting, but how down to earth and relaxing the relationship has helped me gain the maximum that I can out of the relationship.
I think coming back to the laying the groundwork, that is part of it. You need to find a mentor who matches your personality and what you're after from your career. So I think that is one of the reasons why you have an introductory meeting, so that you can make sure that whoever you're talking to is the right personality match. Because I said it before, but it's a two-way street. So even though I am the one giving you the ideas and thoughts, you are still the person determining whether the relationship is right for you or not.
Exactly. And I think it's crucial that you can build up a rapport between the mentor and the mentee, because if you don't have that understanding about how someone wants to work and communicate, the relationship wouldn't be as fruitful as if you built up that rapport with each other.
So far, so good. Looking forward to what's coming next.
Fingers crossed it's good.
Hi, Tony. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Ash. Good to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about mentoring, and I wanted to, before we get into that, hear a little bit about you and your background.
Great. Yeah. So my name is Tony Okonkwo. I'm from Nigeria. So I have a very kind of an interesting background, but I'm basically a banking professional of 12 years. And then beyond banking, I've also done some form of entrepreneurship, run some businesses, leading to an innovation in 2017, which earned me an award, really, as Africa's Young Entrepreneur. And then beyond that, I also run a mentorship program for young career professionals who are trying to grow in their career. So this is kind of where I give back, to the younger ones. So that's about me. I'm more or less a value add guy who wants to always add value to any system I find myself.
So that's fantastic, Tony, because you're actually, as well as being an entrepreneur yourself and being a professional working in industry, you're actually giving your time back to nurture young minds, or not necessarily young minds, but just the next generation of leaders and creators and innovators. And how do you find that is going? How has your mentoring experience developed as you've mentored more and more people?
Yeah. So basically, I have a principle in life where I always believe that one has to impact on others positively, and we can have a better society when we give the little we have back. We don't have it all, remember, but we have something others don't have, right? So it was that notion that underpinned my setting up the, what I call the PD Club, really. And it's been awesome because seeing people who have struggled previously becoming more productive at what they do, becoming more ambitious, and then you see the smiles on their faces, you see the real value you put on the table for them. That's joy for me. That's really fulfilling. So I'm really, that's just about me. I like those kind of moments where people come back and say, oh, I wouldn't have done this if not for the guidance. So it's been interesting. And then it has also made me look up to mentors as well, because I know what the whole mentorship program looks like. I know the value that could be gained from it. So it's helped me to also know that, hence I'm giving back to the folks below me. I also need to look up to others to get better, right? Really. So, so it's been interesting all the while. Yeah.
I love that idea because you are engaging in mentoring as a mentor yourself, but it seems that you are also continuously looking at the people around you, looking at the people next to you, people above you. How can you learn from them? How can you add value to the people you work with? It's a really lovely way of thinking about things. So you've talked a bit about how you mentor others, and have you been a mentor yourself, or have you experienced any mentoring?
Yeah. So, coming to the MBA or prior to the MBA, I've had work mentors. So each time I got into a new office, I tried to locate or kind of search for people within the system who I wanted to be like, really, and then I kind of set up a system with them where they guide me through. All right, so I had a work mentor who was my boss, and he was really instrumental to my taking the MBA in the UK. He set me up for this, really. He kept on pushing me. And then coming on the MBA, I also got a mentor as well, Stuart Bailey, the head of strategy in Lloyds Bank. I just keep imagining each time that I guess I'm very lucky because looking back at both of them, they share a lot of similarities. They're people who are high up there, but still come down here to relate with me. And in both cases, they believe in me more than I do believe in myself. And sometimes I'm wondering what they see that I don't see, right? So it's been amazing, transiting from work to the MBA, and then having to have the kind of mentor I have, Stuart, who has made life really easy for me. It's been awesome all through, honestly.
I love that. I love that you've had mentors in work that you've looked up to and found, and they found you. And it seems that, like you said, there's been something about you that they've liked that you don't even see yourself. So I've got a question there about, what are your thoughts on how we view ourselves and self-awareness? And has your mentoring journey, whether you're mentoring others or mentoring people yourself, being mentored yourself, how important is self-awareness in that journey?
Honestly, I think one of the basic principles of life is, man, know thyself. You need to know yourself, really. Even though I keep saying I don't know what they see in me, I guess I'm, to some extent, I'm trying to be modest, really. I work very hard, honestly. It's something that, it's a process, really, right? So in anything, we need to know what our capabilities are, where our deficiencies lie, and this is something I continuously do. I don't want to use the word critiquing myself, but I'm very self-aware of what I do all the time. Always checking and rechecking, setting targets for myself, and then this is what I do internally, which kind of illuminates outside, right? And kind of attracts people, because to me, those little things I do may not be anything big, but they are processes that lead to a big thing. And then you see people outside who admire them, and then again are drawn to you, just like you are drawn to them, right? So what I would say is, young folks out there need to know how to what I'll call reflect on themselves, right? Introspect, be able to know where they have deficiencies, and then where their strengths lie as well, and be able to harness their strengths. So these are key things around self-awareness, and then that helps in the whole alignment with your mentor. Being able to find the right mentor stems from understanding what you need, where your deficiencies are, and who can help you get there, if you get what I mean.
Absolutely. I'm curious about goal setting. So when you have done these journaling exercises, or in your mind thought about your journey and how, the things you're critiquing, and then you want to create a plan, an action plan to fix some of those things, or to get better or learn more, how do you use goal setting, either with your mentees or even with yourself, to achieve and be the best version of yourself?
Okay, so let me start with saying I am someone who I like to set myself up a lot. I'm not the usual guy, if you will. And why I say that is I always do what people think is not doable. And that's the way I get to incite myself. I like that feeling that you're doing something different, right? So I set goals that ordinarily look unachievable, really. But again, I usually bounce them off people, right? So I come up with, usually I do retreats, periodic retreats, and then I have the yearly, retreat sessions. But again, I do periodic retreats every year where I go, I recline, and then think about family, career, and spirituality as well, if you will. And then I try to put down the areas I feel I need to work on, right? And then I look for people who could guide me along those paths, really. So again, it starts from what you want to do, what you think you want to do. And one thing I found in all of this is that most times those things I want to do are usually scary. To anyone who listens, they're usually scary. But I've been lucky to always find mentors who believe in those, so to say, very unachievable dreams, right? And then we set out action plans, very active ones, and then begin to work towards those goals, right? So again, I do retreats and I pull them down, and then I look for mentors or people who could help me, and then we go through the processes.
I love that, and I love how it's actually much more strategic than other people might think or realize, because although you're taking yourself away, you're having some space to think, reflect, and give yourself the time not to be disturbed with something else. But you are also then thinking, okay, gosh, I've got this problem, or I've got this thing that I need to fix, or I need to work on, but these are the people who can help me. And I think for anyone listening, for myself as well, that's quite an important learning point, because we often have goals, but we don't know how to break them down. But also remembering that there are people in your tribe, in your team, in your, your group, your school classroom, wherever it is for anyone listening, that can help you and will support you. Your retreats, do you have them on your own?
Okay, so it's usually in a group, but organized in a way that you have ample time for yourself. And they're usually the best part of my years, because of course, working as a banker, where you have very tight schedules, you barely have time for self, it became very important that I had this routine of yearly taking out time to go reflect on myself, on my journey so far, and kind of recalibrate, retool, if you will, right? So it's in a group, but it is also designed in a way that you have ample time to reflect on your own, with the enabling tools available in the place. Very relaxed location, take away time, sometimes usually 1 week, right? Just take away time, go to a very relaxed place, natural setting with a lot of trees, right? Because it aids reflection. And then there are guides and mentors there who you could bounce these things off. I once had a problem, I won't call it a problem, but kind of a friction with my boss in the office. And then I took time to go on this retreat. And I recall coming back from the retreat, and my boss, a few weeks down the line, feels we are going on very well. And she doesn't know what happened. And 8 months after, she was mentioning it to everyone to say there was a change, what happened. Nothing really happened from her side. She didn't change, but I changed, right? I had to recalibrate my approach, and I became more receptive, more understanding of different opinions and how to manage them, right? So very clearly, what the retreat does for me is it helps me go in and kind of re-strategize and plan a lot more, looking into the future.
Oh, I really like that, because you didn't change. Sorry, she didn't change, but you changed. So it's that approach you took to recalibrate and reset your path and almost adjust yourself. So I'm curious about anyone listening, if they were feeling stuck, if they feel like they don't know how to even get started with looking at themselves, looking at their life and where things are a little bit not working out so right, or they're feeling unsure, how would you suggest that someone can start some easy steps to recalibrate their way of thinking or their relationships?
Yeah, so one thing I do is every day, because these things, I think you have to have a hold of this in the moment, just so you're able to track where the issues are from, right? I do reflection every day, really. Just before bedtime, I try to reflect on what has gone right and what hasn't gone right within the day, right? And then I make a note what I feel I need to do. And then I try to always find out what was the cause of what didn't go right, right? And trace it, because it's always good to know where the problem is, right? Okay, you had an altercation in the office. What was the cause? Was it that your mood changed at some point? What led to that? Was it a bad lunch you had? Or was it someone you met on the stairway? What happened? Until you're able to trace what the cause was, you won't be able to make. So when you do this over a period, you begin to find a pattern, right? You begin to find a pattern of what you think you need to start working on. For instance, you find that you become very easily agitated for no cause. I give you a typical example. There was a time I found that, because I watch football a lot, and there was a time I found out that each time my team lost, I was always very angry. And then I got really upset with the family. And so I stopped watching football because I had to do that reflection, right? To say, and I watched the pattern. Each time my team lost, I got angry. Each time my team lost, I got angry. And then I knew it was watching football that was the problem. And so I blocked that out because I didn't want that. Because eventually what that could lead to could be more dire than, so I stopped that and then I solved it. So we need to be able to trace the root cause of things and then draw patterns across to see which are those ones we need real help for, that we feel we can help ourselves, right? And then begin to seek help. And the help we need to seek could be in form of education. It could be in form of mentorship, right? Some problems come from a lack of knowledge, right? Education. So you may want to go do an MBA, right? Or you want to do some further studies, right? Or you want to seek a mentor. So again, that's the process. You could just start from reflection at the end of every day and begin to take kind of a log of your life and then find the patterns and draw them together. Perfect.
Thank you so much. I love that advice, and I'm going to make sure that I get back to my reflection and journaling too, because it's some great tips you've shared there as well. Thank you so much, Tony. I have one last question for you. If you could describe Newcastle University Business School in one word, what would you say?
Wow. That's it. Wow. And I'll say why I say wow is that I've had a very interesting time. Starting with my mentor, Stuart Bailey, who has been awesome, to say the least, really. And then I've had real support. I think that's one key thing I found in the Newcastle University, and mostly in the NUBS as well. Real support. This isn't fake support, it's real support, right? From the personal tutor, I've been very privileged as well to have Professor Matthew Brennan, who's gone beyond tutorship to becoming a friend, right? And then all the supports around academics, the WDC, the INTO, it's just one support upon the other. And it's been really interesting. I've really grown in confidence since I got in here. I'm ready to take on the world. Again, it's Newcastle to the world, so I'm ready to hit the world.
I love that. And from this podcast studio, we are going from Newcastle to the world. So thank you so much for being here today, and we've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you, Ashleigh. Good to be here.
Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can drop us a line at nubspodcast@newcastle.ac.uk. And you can also tag us in any of our Newcastle University Business School social media channels. You can find these links in our show notes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. This podcast has been brought to you by Newcastle University Business School. Your host has been Ashleigh King, with executive production by Ashleigh King, photography by Paul Scurra of That Branding Company and Blind Sea Photo, production by Alice Smith and Tim Lazinski at TL Multimedia Limited.